It's such a hot topic right now, pun intended. It's on the front of Oprah's magazine. It's the focal point of dozens of new studies. It's menopause. And from mood swings to hot flashes, headaches, fatigue, and more, women over the age of 40 are just feeling the heat. And joining us now to explain it all is Dr. Janella Thomas-Burse, and board-certified OB-GYN. Welcome, Dr. Burse.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Now, can you explain to us exactly what is menopause? Can we fast forward through this part of life? And how do women know if they're actually experiencing it? Like, what are the symptoms that they should be looking out for?
Sure. Yes. So menopause, the hard definition is no period for a year, not 11 months and 15 days, but 1 year. And can it still come back sometimes? Yes, but very rarely. So it's no period for a year, which can be hard to determine in women who've had a hysterectomy before they were menopausal, or women on birth control that takes away their period. So sometimes it can be hard to determine that, but that is our definition. And the symptoms vary, and they can start as early during the perimenopause time when you're still having periods, but you start having symptoms. And a lot of times you ignore those symptoms because you're busy with kids or work or just life. But hot flashes and night sweats. Night sweats usually start earlier than hot flashes, so people may be having the night sweats. Brain fog, trouble sleeping, irritability, depression, anxiety. You're just not yourself. Low libido, vaginal dryness, joint pain, actually, too. So those are some of the symptoms that we kind of chalk up to, oh, I'm getting older, especially the joint pain and things like that. I'm getting older. I mean, I like my job, this and that. But a lot of the time it is because of the perimenopause and menopause, which is caused by the cessation of having estrogen in our body. But it's not just estrogen. Or estradiol, which is what we naturally produce. Estrogen is a synthetic term. But the other hormone that's so important in women that's totally ignored, we're told we don't need it, but our cells have receptors for it from our head to our toe, just like the estradiol receptors. And that is testosterone. So testosterone is very important in women. No, we don't need nearly as much as men, but that little bit of testosterone we need helps with those mood changes, helps greatly with the libido. The night sweats, the estradiol hits the hot flashes during the day, but the testosterone hits the night sweats at night. It's a game changer, just replacing both of them.
So you mentioned, that there's the tendency for women to have IUDs and other types of birth control that may limit us being able to tell whether or not we're entering into menopause. Right. Do these agents, the IUDs, the birth controls, the birth shots, do they cause you to go into menopause earlier? Are you seeing younger patients in your office who are experiencing perimenopause and transitioning to menopause? And if so, why?
It is difficult to tell that. We are seeing women younger with perimenopausal symptoms, or if you're younger than 40 and your period stop, it's called primary ovarian insufficiency. But it's hard to say whether it's because of those things. As far as we know, the data does not show that those hormonal contraceptives cause early menopause. But what's confounding that is our environment. Our body, our organs are fighting all the toxins and pesticides and this processed food and all this, soy-based things and everything that's in the processed foods as well, and how they treat the animals, the steroids they give the animals, and we eat those animals. So it's hard to separate that. But what we know now is probably more that than the hormonal contraceptives, because when you compare the groups, women who did not have it versus women who had the hormones, there's really not much of a difference.
Got you. And what do you say to those women who are entering into the perimenopausal stage of things? And they say, hey, I am losing my mind. I cannot remember anything. I used to be sharp as a tack. Now I have to write everything down or it will not get done. Are there anything to natural supplements? Is there a diet? What can they do to help ease those types of symptoms, if anything at all?
Yes, that brain fog is very irritating. Even the simplest words you can't remember sometimes, or somebody's name that you see all the time, it just escapes you. But with everything, whether it's heart disease or whatever, starts with our lifestyle, making sure we get our sleep. And unfortunately, in the US, we don't stress the importance of sleep. That's when everything happens for good in our body. Our body's healing. Our brain is getting washed with a fluid that helps cleanse and decrease our risk of Alzheimer's dementia. So sleep is so important. Getting your water, getting your movement in, again, eating as cleanly as possible. Nobody's saying anything about perfection, but eating as cleanly as possible, and meditating and trying to handle the stresses of life, helping our body handle the stresses of life. So those things are very important. And back to lack of sleep, that can definitely increase the brain fog. Obviously the mood swings because you're not sleeping. And people who think, oh, I do fine on 4 hours of sleep. You may think you are, but your body is screaming at you. You're just ignoring it. Your body's screaming at you. So getting those, the basic lifestyle makes a big difference, especially sugar, alcohol, caffeine can definitely exacerbate a lot of the symptoms of menopause.
You mentioned the brain fog and women saying, hey, I just can't remember. Studies are showing that menopause actually has an impact on the brain. What are you seeing in those perimenopausal and menopausal women, particularly as it relates to their brain?
Yes, again, just like when I was talking about testosterone, having receptors from our head to our toe, estrogen and progesterone, all three our cells have receptors from our head to our toe. So receptors are what those hormones bind to on the cell to make everything work. So we know that, and there are a lot of studies out there that show the protective benefits of the hormones. So it's not just for symptoms. It's also to help decrease our risk of heart disease, osteoporosis, yes, breast cancer, Alzheimer's dementia. So those receptors in our brain are begging for it, and it does make a big difference with that.
So when should women then, it's one of these things where our mothers and our grandmothers didn't necessarily talk to us about the change, right? No. The big change. So when should women start to seek medical help? Is this, and when should they consider hormone replacement if it can have such tremendous benefit for their overall health?
Right. Our mothers and grandmothers, they didn't know what was going on. I mean, they knew their period stopped, but they really didn't know what was happening. And the medical community really pushed, women's studies to the side, even to today. So they didn't really know what was happening and how to fix it. But there was a segment of the population who understood it, but it was kind of outside the traditional medicine, especially American medicine. So, but hopefully you're seeing your primary, and I will say preferably to your GYN every year. And sadly to say, a lot of us aren't very attuned. It's not taught very well in medical school or residency for OB-GYN or other specialties. So hopefully we'll find one that has a sensitivity, number one, to what's going on with you and will listen to you. But if you're seeing them every year, they're asking you questions and hopefully opening that door for you to say, I'm having this brain fog. I'm more irritable than usual. Maybe your periods have started to change. Maybe they haven't. But hopefully that person is sensitive to know, okay, well, it may be your hormones. We can check them. And in my office, we do check testosterone in women as well. And the thyroid gland is very important. So the imbalance of the thyroid can cause a lot of those symptoms as well. But listen to your body and to know that, okay, something's not right and it's consistent. Let me see somebody, and hopefully that person is sensitive to what you're saying.
Right. It's one of these things. How can we as a society demystify the stigmas around it? And I think we're doing a great job, because I feel like more women are talking about this now than I ever heard about before. Maybe it's because I'm getting into that age range. But why do you feel like more women are talking about it now as in comparison to our mothers and our grandmothers?
I think, women are getting, even though that, the women's movement was 60s, 70s, but women are, as a mass, are getting more powerful and confident in speaking out and not being ashamed, especially the younger generation. They're talking more about what's called PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, female things. And it's the other part of it is the OB-GYN community is really predominantly women now, as opposed to men. So things have shifted with that. And thank, God for Oprah and I think Julia Roberts and people like that who are putting it out there. They're highly visible. So women are realizing it's not just me. If you keep things to yourself, you think it's just you experiencing it, that something's wrong with you. And then you're even too ashamed to bring it up to your doctor. But when other women are talking about it, you say, oh, thank goodness, it's not just me. I'm not crazy. There's something actually that can be done to help make my life better. And my partner in my office, she had a patient who lost her job really because of this. I mean, she just got so irritable, so angry. So she lost her job, and giving her the hormones just changed it. It just changed her life. And there's not a day that goes by, and much less, a week goes by, and much less a day sometimes that somebody doesn't tell me this has really changed my life.
Well, you said thank you to Oprah and to Julia Roberts. I think our audience would say thank you to you, Dr. Thomas-Burse, that representation matters, and that when a woman walks in and sees that there's a female doctor, and automatically you just know she gets it. So thank you, and we look forward to having you back.
I look forward to being back. Thank you.